Ja, es tut mir ein bisschen leid, ne? Die the Diary of the REMO Kazzi has to go on, ja. Muss wieder zurückkommen. Checken. Okay, die Audio ist immer noch super duper. Ja, wir haben heute den 6. August. Natürlich, Remo Kassi Saga geht weiter. Wir hören hier nicht auf, ne? Wir sind back und ich fühle mich auch sehr, sehr, sehr. Ja. Why am I speaking English? Speak English. Sorry. I guess that's kind of what it is. I just started this video completely speaking another language. But it's the natural way of mine. Sometimes that happens. What I just said is basically, I mean, I think I'm more calm when I speak English because there's less PTSD that has been included into my brain. Well, what I said is the Remo Kazi just doesn't, just stop. Actually, I felt sick not being here and talking and everything and expressing myself. Why? Because I just have this natural, like I'm very, very driven, and I also started, obviously, having sexual intercourse with myself at about 4 years age. I kind of went automatically at that, kind of that happened. And so I'm that guy. I have a high sex drive. I have a high dopamine. I have this and that. Completely crazy. I don't want to. You cannot really say, oh, you have this ADHD. You have this the D and this is ABCD. You have a BTD, HD. Hell no. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own experiences. And if you try to put yourself into you have made the mistake of making yourself less unique. You have completely, you don't want to give yourself this ununiqueness. You don't want to do that. You are unique in your own capabilities and ways. Everybody and each individual, it's just you're the closest to saying you're ADHD. That's what that's what they're saying, You're the closest to having this ADHD. You're the closest to having this PTSD, whatever. But you are not actually. This is not everybody's the same in that, right? It's just saying, you're close, but you could say there's tens of variations of that, and then under that it's another 10 so every variation, I would say, that's just kind of my opinion. I think that's truth. I think that's the truth, and that's what I'm here for. I'm gonna state the truth. I'm gonna talk the truth every day, while being a little bit respectful. I'm probably also gonna do a Rumble, because Rumble is an app where you can actually take your opinion and say those things out loud without ever being cancelled, and that will never happen. And that's why the platform is actually interesting, because we people, and I'm explaining this to everybody out there right now, sometimes, for example, Nick Fuentes was speaking about this. He's an interesting guy that sometimes says words like the N-word and everything, but not because he hates those people. And sometimes, for example, the artist Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, for example, he was explaining, because they are kind of friends and everything, because they're also going through the same cancellation process. He has basically explained why Ye or Kanye West has made this thing, has made this crazy song that you will probably have heard of before, which is like the I think HH, right? HH song kind of, type, okay? And he explained it by, okay, they took his children from him, they took this, it was a way of saying, okay, you try to stop me, you try to take me down because I'm just this person, whatever. I will go and say this. Now what? It's more like all of these things are not always like I'm actually thinking that. It's just what happens if we do that? What happens? It's like the fun of playing with the possibilities, and the fun of knowing there isn't actually a freedom, and just seeing how people cope with this thing. With they're saying it's a free country, but we're saying things that actually people made you like. It's a funny thing of playing. It's also a form of entertaining yourself. It's a form of testing the limits, which is one of the most fun things to do, right? And we all want to do that. And when, for example, somebody says a certain word, it's a form of self-expression, saying I'm not afraid, I'm a man, I can say those words. I say whatever. For example, you could say this guy says the N-word because it's racist or whatever, but no, he says it because he can say it, because it's fun. Some people just see it as fun. Not for me, for example, but I would just like to explain you why I don't discriminate those people instantly, and why I have a still respect for those people, and I'm not that low intelligent to say, oh, you said this, I look into the people's brain and then give myself the opinion and make myself an opinion, okay? That's how I tolerate those kind of things. And I never look at I always look at the multiple facets of how things are perceived and conducted in their brain later than on being, expressed into something. And there's always multiple layers of expressing yourself, right? There's the personal satisfaction layer, there's the dopamine gaining layer, the entertainment layer, there's layers of obviously information processing, spreading the word that you want to tell and everything, all of those things. But that's just kind of my opinion right now, and I'm really open-minded at this certain age. I think I'm one of the most open-minded people, and certainly sometimes people don't get that. And when I explain for example, people what I've gone through and what I've experienced, they say, "Oh, you've experienced a lot." It sounds like it's interesting. You've been in various industries, active in all of that stuff, and it seems like, well, I have now. Well, it's certainly also damaging to your brain. Well, but I have a huge facet of seeing things, having gone through emotions, right? Sometimes you don't necessarily need to have experienced physical things, but you can also have experienced emotional depth into yourself, which happens when you're alone in your room. The internet basically is a discovery tool, and being in the studio, that this studio I actually describe as the analysis of the world, new age philosopher, theory maker, mentor. I think my goal is actually to be, well, certainly I'm not that confident yet to say, okay, my opinion, I actually want to give that to those people that actually have influence, but I'm a guy like everybody else that has an opinion, and you can state that opinion outwards, and if people like and think that you have some capabilities of expressing yourself, I'm saying this too much now, repeating myself, but that's basically what I'm here for, and it's interesting. I just want to play with the words, see how things goes. Obviously, I'm playing into the hands of many people, many governments. I'm a guy who, I've thought of this many times before, and I'm sometimes like, I want to express myself in my story now. I want to post this now. I want to, post this. I used to post ugly stuff of mine, like just to trigger people, just to say, yo, unfollow me now if you don't like stupid stuff like that. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna please everybody, while I'm still, obviously, you can still see what I'm actually thinking and everything, but you cannot, I'm still gonna be myself and everything. I won't ever, just turn me off. But those, I'm gonna reserve that for smart people, because you cannot take that, right? You cannot, I'm just gonna say things to please people, but phrase it like that you can still take what I actually think of it. So people cannot clip farm. Actually, they cannot actually take the clips and get them into the wrong context. The clips are made to always sound always sound correct when being into clips, but the whole message is basically only able to comprehend in multiple layers of watching multiple videos and everything, right? That's the theory. That's the best way to do it. I've analyzed so many videos. I've watched the downfall of success. I've watched the downfall of creative people. I've watched how, to deal with fame. I've experienced it on myself. This is the ultimate video how to cope with all of that, and I've mastered that. And I will give many people advice on how to cope with it and how to exactly prepare yourself for the new age of being famous, the new age of being whatever you want to be, and to manage and cope with that personal stress level life. Everybody has their own sense, their own sensitivity, their own perceiving, and it changes every day. It's a huge multiple layer facet of your brain, of neurons and all of this stuff. But there's ways to deal with it, and there's ways to do it. Sometimes the answer is not objectively the right, but it may not morally the right one, but it might be the most entertaining and giving you the most purpose in life one, right? There's always multiple answers to things, and you have to experiment each day and kind of find the way that works for you in the right moment. Sometimes you need to order that pizza, sometimes you need to order that healthy, sometimes while keeping, something that actually you want to achieve in the high demand, right? Like saying 10 years I'm going to be that, okay. Keep that in mind, but while you're, going for that, you can still variate. And you won't be exactly, and you won't be put off, sometimes you can skip the gym, but the end goal is always there, and you keep that in mind, and it's all good, That's the main focus here. Appreciate you guys for watching. As always, that was my take here. That was my thought. Freestyle. what I thought of this day, what I thought, had in my mind. Not doing a lot, but so here I can express myself freely, I guess. Feels like a dream sometimes, and that's the beauty of it. I guess I'm dreaming. This is the YouTube channel of a dreamer being alive in the real world. It's the 6th August 2025. It's 6:40 p.m. in the evening right now. Yeah, I could go to the gym right now, but I wouldn't like the feeling exactly, right? I think sometimes I'm like a very longevity guy. I'm like, well, I'm always coping with, okay, am I like I actually go to the gym like multiple times a week, but I'm also saying, well, if I go to the gym now, will that make me feel better or worse? And you can say in the long term it always makes you feel better, but no, I'm always saying, what is my body gonna cope the best with? A slight exercise, a walk on the beach sometimes is the answer, right? And you achieve that high, that wellness of your body only if you listen truly to your body. And sometimes you achieve longevity and no aging. Like when you work for a lot of you start to feel that inflammation in your body, and you want to reduce that. And that's, I think, what my body is doing because of the sensitivity. I have interesting take at the last second of this video. Appreciate you guys for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.